Danny, this letter you wrote is laughable, but let's dissect it a little bit. What was the title? The numbed brain pad, blah, blah, blah about me. Okay. And you say this is an open letter, so you're obviously wanting other people besides me to read it. When you do that, and see, here's the thing. Look, I'm going to talk fast. Before, I gave you some time, but see, here's the thing. You're not worth my time. I just do what I gotta do because you tell lies. First you started with my buddy Wahid, and then you went and started when I told you to stop and got in. To help my friend, you started the same smear tactics against me. Now you say I keep deflecting. No. I'm telling you head on, you're full of shit. That's not deflection, okay? And the refusal to accept what you said is true against us when it isn't, that's not deflection, okay? That's not deflection. That's just straight up blocking. If you want to use combat analogies, yeah, it's a straight up block. And yeah, we might counter. It's called self-defense on the, verbal scale here. Now, see, I was just putting up, you had on I could go find it, look. Doesn't really matter much, but you had speculated on your New York City trip that Wahid wasn't doing this, that, or the other thing, or whatever, it was all BS. It was total BS. It was speculation in your own head. And all I did was because you and that decided on the same thing because you have this very strange, almost nutty mix of gaming, which is the level of where your stuff's at, and, taking a shit on me and Wahid. You also mentioned your little flyover, as you call it, I think was the word, your computer simulation projection of the Hagia Sophia and the Fatisami. So I should have been there. Maybe, just maybe, if you actually bothered to have a life rather than shit on me and Wahid in your blog, you might have been able to manage your resources a little better. I'm not saying you got to pinch every single penny. I was just saying maybe you would. And I didn't, in that post, when I put up pictures of me there, I didn't mention your name. Now, yeah, I was hoping you'd see it. But there was no, attack on you in that. But you had to go taking a shit on me just for posting pictures of a trip I took 3 years ago. We're reposting, to be fair. Yeah. Yeah, and then when you said I didn't reflect any, which, again, that is totally in your head. You have no idea what I was doing, what I was thinking. And so I shared a little bit, and then you wrote this thing. I mean, hey, it took me, half an hour, 45 minutes at the very most to put up those pictures and write that other post of me visiting the cisterns in Istanbul. And I'm seeing this, and you got to spend hours on this, unless you just had an AI do it all for you. You were spending hours when we said you were obsessed. Yeah, you're obsessed. Okay? Because we don't give a damn what you do in your personal life. We just care that, that you not take shits on us, which you've done plenty of. You've defamed us. You've slandered us. And then you turn around and say you're the victim. No, it doesn't work that way. No. And so All I had to do was post that of me at the mosques and then later at the cisterns, where I never mentioned you. Never mentioned you. And then you have to go and try to take a total shit on me over it, even though it's nothing you needed to. Not to mention the fact that you kind of twisted my words. Actually, the when you're talking about that this isn't in the Quran, no, in the Quran they do disallow pictures in the temples, but I said in the temples. You know, Sadi Bukhari, who gave the not fully subscribed to creed of no images at all. That's, again, you're just trying to make this point like you're so smart, which, well, you weren't fully accurate, and B, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And I use the term cradle of civilization loosely. So what? Okay? See, that's just your way. You know, if you want to talk about who is trying to harass the other one, I put up travel pictures. And you're taking a dig at me over it and speculating completely in your imagination when you weren't there. You have no idea what's going on with me. And you feel right to just speculate as if it were fact. It ain't. It's your imagination. But you feel the need to be, look at me, I'm always right. You even, and to show you even saved catch this, a school assignment from when you were 12. Look, nobody cares. Okay? Now, maybe it was a good source of pride to you at that time. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Showing it now? No, that's a little kooky. That's a little kooky. Now then you get into your you label my ableist mockery of neurodivergence as rigidity. First of all, I never mentioned neurodivergence. I just said you were rigid, and you are. Yeah, I don't care if you're neurodivergent or autistic, and I'm sorry for whatever crap you went through in your childhood because of that. But that doesn't make you special any more than any of us, and it doesn't give you the right to go shit on other people and call it journalism. No. But again, this whole thing, I never said neurodivergence. That was something that came from your own head. Not mine, yours. All I had to say was you were rigid, and good Lord, look at how many times you've, coughed up the same things, the same lies. And now you're calling that documentation to the point, but you're getting on this whole thing with, I'm not going to get into on a big thing, but you talked about how someone was superior to me because something about that restaurant, I could read it here somewhere, that was because they gave a conversation that had some analysis. Now, look, my level of analytics speak for themselves because I actually write about things that have nothing to do with you. I have a life. Okay? Yeah. But you think you're superior because you analyzed something when I said there are times where you just got to enjoy stuff? Yeah, go out, go to the beach. Yes, if you want to spend your time sitting on the sand with a notebook and calculating, the force of the ocean current, you can go ahead. Or you can just enjoy the bloody water and swim and have fun. You might want to try that. Okay? See, because you had just said, and you went and justified every little thing. You even gave me this, wrote this menu of the various things you're eating. I don't care about what you eat. I don't care. Nobody cares at all. No, we don't care. We don't care at all. Okay? But you, because I just used your attempt to take a dump on Wahid by sharing a picture of a burger and fries. A picture of a burger and fries. And you used to take a dig at my buddy Wahid for a picture of a burger and fries. Yeah, you're the one who's obsessive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And so when I just called it out about how, because restaurant fries are shit, because I make my own, hey, not that I really care about explaining to you my diet, you went off on this thing about how we're just going over this whole budget and food, and we don't care. We don't care. No one else cares. What it shows, though, is that you have an obsession with wanting to be right. Okay? And it's not doing you any good. Okay? All it's doing is turning you into an asshole. And even a slanderer. Yeah, and a defamer. That's what it's turning you into. That's what it's turning you into. That's not documentation, because the documentation has to be factual, and it's not. You've called us liars. You've called us cultists. You've said we're violent, despite the fact that you're the one who's also used analogies such as, there was the whole bird killing the snake and nuking and Order 66 and, all that. But that's not violent on your part now, is it? No, it's only violent when we do it. Yeah, grow up, okay? I've already given you, and I'm not going to waste my time on it again, where I have said, you've asserted this out of context. When you take this greater context, what you're doing is effectively lying by omission. So, sorry. Yeah. You're going on about your electric bills and your cooking and what you're cooking. We don't care. Maybe in childhood, you felt attacked and, by just needing to justify your existence with a reason, so you're obsessive about it. Okay, get some therapy for that. But, okay, there's a difference between justifying existence and trying to justify slandering other people. That ain't cool. And that's what you've been doing to Wahid initially, and then I tried to help him out, and he started doing it to me too. So, yeah. And then you just repeat, you get all these pictures of stuff you've already posted, blah, 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 stuff in the D.C. area. Hey, look, I used to work in Fairfax County personally. I think, for such a wealthy area, the restaurants there are absolute crap. Go up to the West Virginia Panhandle. You might think it's just rednecky, but believe me, the West Virginia, Eastern Panhandle, Martinsburg area, they actually got some good restaurants up there. Get away, take a trip, chill out. Yeah. And again, you're just going on to all your, you're thinking I was talking about your neurodivergence. I wasn't. I was just talking about you being obsessive. That's just and being persnickety and calling things documentation when it's really just rambling and repeating lies and slander and that sort of thing. Okay, it doesn't change the nature of what you're doing. So you're still on that after I've down-scrolled here on this letter. So, yeah, you're the one who needs to get a fucking life. No, I only use the lecturing and independent. First of all, you interpret it as a lecture. I never mentioned your name. As a matter of fact, other people just like the fact that I put up some pictures of Istanbul. Okay? I don't care who you were going to see. I don't care if you got family there. Okay? No one cares. You just took a dig at Wahid, and I was showing you how silly it was. And then you kind of proved my point, and you proved how obsessive you are with refuting this stuff. Yeah, and then you're, of course, going on and explaining all your computer expenses. We don't care. We don't care. Okay, we're just saying, hey, you've made a choice to have this gamer lifestyle, and then you whine about someone else. You actually said that because I just posted pictures of me in Istanbul 3 years ago that I was stealing your dream. No. A lot of people have travel dreams. Yeah. A lot of people have travel dreams. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, more stuff about your gaming as I down scroll. Gaming, which I don't care about. Okay, something about your trip to the National Zoo. Yeah, and then I compared you to Trump. Yeah, I did. Because he thinks he's always right. He thinks he knows everything about everything. So do you. And you're obsessive about getting your way and being stuck in a mentality from childhood and refusing to grow up. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I don't like Trump either. I think he's a total piece of shit. But, you kind of like him like that, you have this obsession of always having to be right and always having to get your way. He's just unfortunately in a much more powerful position, so he can mess with a lot more people than you. But it's the same childishness, the same insistence that you're right. Same thing, dude. Okay, now more. Then you go on to talk about that I do vlogging, and yeah, funny how you just call me mediocre. You think you have a high bar, and you know nothing about it, and probably don't pay attention, which is fine because I'm not writing it for you. Okay, I'm not writing. When I write political stuff, it's not about you. Just get real. And then you, of course, go and put the graph of the Thai baht. First of all, you're even accusing me of, quote, creeping on teenagers. All I mentioned was one trans waitress who I never said was a teenager and wasn't. You interpreted that. Yeah, you put words in my mouth. That's defamation. Yep, I wasn't trying to lead you or nothing. I just said, waitress, I don't know her age. If I had to guess, I would have said about 30. Okay? But yeah, you were the one who assumed that the waitress was a teenager. And I didn't say anything to her. I was just writing about some observations. And you've taken that. By the way, and that mentioning took your therapist back, commenting on how a child, I never said she was a child, she was an adult. You interpreted that. You put words in my mouth that I never used. You lied. Maybe not intentionally, but yeah, you're trying to say that I was looking at the body of a teenager when actually I was looking at the face of an adult and just saying they were feminine. So yeah, you if you're gonna get some therapy, then at least be accurate in your details about what other people are doing if you're venting. Okay, because if not, it's not going to do very much. Okay, so yeah, you completely made that up in your head. Now, you might think that your head is reality. It isn't. Okay, it isn't. Yeah. Yeah, because you then like cut and pasted that text and yeah, it never says she was a teenager. Ever. So your own words, your own, or should I say, your own copying of my words shows you made that up. You interpreted that, which I never said. She was an adult, well into it. But I don't go around asking people's ages, because she's just a waitress and who cares? That's it. And then you complain about the exchange rates comparatively, which don't really matter because it's a matter of what you can actually do with it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you traveled to Dubai. Yeah, great, nice for you. I don't care. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then you again post my words again. And I'll repeat it just because you need to hear it. I just mentioned that you were emotionally distressed because you had said you were. Yeah, you said you were. You admitted that. I was just repeating your own words back to you. Or you wrote it. Said wrote. Doesn't really matter. It was out there in the viewable. And yeah. You said that you were getting distressed. That doesn't mean I caused it. And if you go and slander me and I counter that slander, I'm not responsible for walking on eggshells so that you don't get emotionally distressed. Okay? Any more than if, you throw a punch at me and I block, I don't care if it hurts your arm. All right? And now you're keeping going on this thing about how we're harassing you. See, look, here's what criminal cases of harassment are. That's where people send 60, 80, 100 emails, okay, with no response. This is just tit for tat. Okay, you slander us, we counter. It's that simple. Yeah, you slander us, we counter, and that's that. And then you think you know something about Constantinople or, well, it's early Istanbul. Yeah, you're using use that old Roman name. Yeah. Look, okay, you don't have a lawsuit. Not to mention the fact that I don't really even buy it because you've said you're not going to post anything until you sue, and then you've, done 3 or 4 posts since? Yeah, yeah. But I'm going to say what I said all the time before. All you got to do is walk away. Walk away. Apologize. Take stuff down. Walk away. And it's done. But you've got some obsessive streak that thinks you have some right to take a dump on people, to slander them, to lie about them, which you have done in this by saying I creeped on a teenager when all I did was mention a waitress who was an adult. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And if your therapist can't really read that or just believe you, well, that's your therapist's problem. You need a better one. So yeah, walk away, because you're the one who's obsessed here. Yeah, but it's funny. It's just funny that, all I got to do is post a picture of a place I've been to that you've been, and you go on this total rant about it. Who's in whose head? Who's in whose head? But like I said, you can walk away. Walk away. Stop it. That's all you got to do. But instead, you call us cultists, but you think you have a right to make up things about us as if your imagination is reality? Tell me who's trying to play God there. That's it. Delete. That's all, folks. Yeah, I got to say Looney Tunes. I got to do a Looney Tunes impression. I'm talking about you because, you're Looney Tunes. Oh, and, yeah, I'd say delete. That's all, folks. Oh, no, it isn't. Actually, yes. Rataban Gawi Gamlang Gin Gai T Gamlang Sai Muaxi Muang. Yeah, that too. Later.